Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to get intellectual with you and really talk about something on a real mental level. Get away from the entertainment and talk about something real mental. When it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, do you realize it was hundreds of women helping this guy get girls? Nobody likes to talk about that because nobody wants to be equal and balanced. Nobody wants to hear the equality of this monster, Jeffrey Epstein. But imagine, think of all the mini monsters, hundreds of women who helped this guy get girls. Nobody wants to hold those women accountable. The prosecutors refuse to prosecute the women who trapped girls, coerced girls, and meat marketed girls to Jeffrey Epstein. Isn't that amazing? We're in a world where the prosecutors, mostly women prosecutors, don't want to prosecute the women who allowed this to happen. The prosecutors, mostly women. Isn't that amazing? You guys got women out there who helped Jeffrey Epstein get girls. Shout out to Naima Buckner. How are you, Naima? You might like the intellectual part of this conversation today. You had hundreds of women, not just a couple of women, hundreds of women seek out girls to entrap them and con them into sleeping with Jeffrey Epstein. I was watching everything about Jeffrey Epstein, and the funny thing was, you had girls that would go in high school and seek out other high school girls to con them to go over and be with Jeffrey Epstein. But none of these women are getting prosecuted. I always wonder how the women like Naima Buckner, Poetic Kales, how do y'all feel about the fact that none of the women ever get prosecuted for what they do? Just like the female pimps. Now that you got a lot of women pimping women, all of a sudden the officers don't want to arrest pimps. Because now that most of the pimps are women, officers don't want to take them to jail. You only get a few small officers who do. What's going on, Abe? How are you doing? This is a different type of conversation today. You see, what I want to bring to you is an understanding of that in order for a lot of equality to happen, women have to start locking up women. In order for a lot of equality to start happening, women have to start policing women with the same energy that they're focused on guys. Until that happens, you're not going to have equality. You're just going to have manhunt, manhunt. And there's nothing wrong with that if the guy is wrong. But when you think about all the women, I'm looking at this thing on Jeffrey Epstein and I'm like, all these women helped this guy. Not a couple of women, not a few women. All these women helped this guy. If you'd like to contribute, you can contribute through the Cash App. You can contribute through the PayPal. Beautiful Naima Buckner has put that in the chat room. You can contribute in that way, or you can put this video on your Instagram so others can see it. Please upload it to your Instagram. You see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Guys have to understand, in order for you to get the equality you say you want out of women, you got to start having intellectual conversations. Shout out to Gabe. Gabe says he will be in Oakland soon. Allow you to buy him lunch, soak up game. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. You can email me when you're on the plane and all my emails go to my phone, and I'll definitely link up with you. You know, you gotta understand, fellas. There's a lot of women out there who are not holding other women accountable. And when you look at Jeffrey Epstein, when you look at how he was able to kick back in his house and get other women to bring little girls to him, you got to ask yourself, when do we get on these microphones and hold these women accountable for trafficking little girls? Because the prosecutor refuses to do it. The prosecutors refuse. Now get this: the prosecutors refuse to lock up the women who helped Jeffrey Epstein. What do we do with that? What do you do when the female prosecutor says, I'm so down for women that I'm going to let the female who violated the crime go free as long as I can get this guy? But the guy had hundreds of women helping him. The guy was married to one of the women helping get women. Some of the victims said his wife was it. But guess what? Prosecutors refuse to prosecute the wife, prosecute all the other girls who helped. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. And see, we black men are at fault because, yep, we black men are at fault. We black men are at fault because we're not holding intellectual conversations on topics like this that really matter. We're so busy talking about dating. We're struggling so hard with dating. It's the weirdest thing. But I was looking at this thing with Jeffrey Epstein, man, and it was just amazing to see the women who were going out picking up young girls at the high school. One girl said her friend said, "I'm really scared to go to this place, but I need for you to come with me." Girl came with her friend. Her friend's like, "Okay, but we got to take off our clothes because," and then the girl's like, I came here to support you. This is something you doing." So she sits up here and supports her friend. And this is what I say, man. It's the sisterhood is an evil place, man. There's some goodness that some women get out of the sisterhood, but the sisterhood is manipulative. When you look at a lot of the problems that people have in dealing with women, it comes from the sisterhood. The sisterhood does not represent black women. The sisterhood kind of manipulates black women. Black women don't benefit, but and this is all the sisterhood. Now the brotherhood does some bad things. I give you that, but the sisterhood don't like locking up the sisterhood. The sisterhood don't like holding the sisterhood accountable. And it is a weird thing to see. Brenton Knight says women don't want equality. Well, women don't want equality, Brenton, because we don't have enough males coming to the forefront, using their intellectualism and forcing that narrative. Hey, women, why are we not having equality amongst men? When other than myself, other than C.A. Latre, Brenton, when have you heard men say, "Hey, women need to hire men the same way men hire women"? See, that's not happening. Shout out to Abe for throwing some cash at the PayPal, man. I appreciate that, brother. Um, The PayPal link is in the chat room. The email is also the same as it's always been. Ask a classy black man at gmail.com. But this is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. You, as black men, you got to start having these intellectual conversations. Mr. Lifework says Epstein may not be dead, but the loser probably met Okra, who had opened a sex trafficking ring in Africa for that girls' school. Well, hey, look at it from this standpoint. This goes to your thing about Winfrey. What is Winfrey doing to stop women from setting up other women? What is Winfrey doing? And other than myself saying it, why are not more men saying that? You got men on CNN, you got men on Fox News, you got men on, and they're not saying the things that are really important. You, in order for you to get equality for men, you got to push the narrative. Hey, women, y'all need to be equal, equally held accountable. Cliffhanger says responsibility is the big equalizer. If they arrest the women, the Me Too movement will fail. It's not about making the Me Too movement fail. It's really not. It's about showing the inconsistencies and how the inconsistencies are just layered against boys. Now, you guys got to understand is in order for the black male to get the equality he wants, he has to push the intellectual narrative. Naima Buckner says, right, Mr. Research, if no one talks about it, we don't see it. And see, that's the curse of the black male. The black male feels like, I don't want to complain about how I'm getting treated at work. You got to complain, but you got to stop complaining verbally like women. You have to complain via email. You got to complain. Now, if anybody wants to call in, the call in number is here. We're going to be up for a few minutes. We've been up for 12 minutes so far. I got a couple of things to do, but I'm opening myself up to the call in show if you'd like to call in. But this is something that we all have to understand. We have to understand that it's not just about blaming women. You have to actually, as dudes, put yourself in mental, intellectual position to push the narrative that benefits you. Shout out to Sheila. Sheila seems like a first time lady. Never saw Sheila before, but Sheila E, one of my favorite players. I saw Sheila about last year. Sheila, I was saying hello to Sheila right after Prince died. Um, but anyway, because Sheila's from Oakland. Matter of fact, her brother was here next door to me, visiting one of the musical guys that lived next door. Uh, but yeah, Sheila E is a great person. Uh, Let me see. Me Too, of course. You got super retarded Burke is covering these sex trafficking white supremacists to kill more black men. Well, Burke has said that she refuses to go after white people. Burke says she's not going to go after white people. And see, this is once again the problem with black men. Who did Burke end up marrying? A black man. See, it's always a black man coming to the rescue of the women who talk against black men. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, where the black men come to the rescue of the women who talk against black men. It's the weirdest thing. But to each their own. Love is love. What have you? Shout out to Nima Buckner again, putting the Cash App in and the email. So I just want to say to you guys, man, when I look at Epstein and I'm looking at all these women who are helping him get little girls, I'm like, why has the prosecutor not prosecuted the wife, the four assistants, all these women who helped get and trap young girls? It is the weirdest thing. And nobody's holding those people accountable. Nobody. So I did put the call in number. I haven't got anybody to call in yet. So I'm going to start shutting it down. But thank you for these 15 minutes of just getting you to understand a bigger conversation that we got to have as intellectual black men. We got to push beyond the narrative of dating. You know, I do talk about dating stuff, but we got to push beyond that narrative. For the women, they can check out the thing I did on single black mothers, how they can uh, really find these dudes, and what you got to do as a single mother to get ready for a dude. Hey, shout out to Cliffhanger, man. He donated something. Appreciate that, man. You and Abe, I appreciate that. NC Worker back in the house. Uh, like I said, man, what are we as black men going to do to push a better narrative? Because what we cannot do is just join these groups who just want to hate chicks with no end goal, who just want to hate chicks as some type of porn turn on. Just hating chicks ain't gonna get you nowhere. Telling you now, you're gonna have to have some strategic goal, and then for those women who do appreciate men, hating men ain't gonna get you nowhere either. You're gonna have to get some strategic goal. You're gonna have to get something in place where you're able to benefit long term. And if you're sitting up here angry at men, you're gonna take that into your marriage. Okay, it's gonna be the same deal. The same deal. So with that said, nobody called in. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Much love to everybody. Thank you for listening to this. Share it on your Instagram. I much appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna holla at you. Peace.